Hello, everyone. This is Kripa Anand, and welcome to the Canadian SME Small Business Podcast. Today, we are exploring the infrastructure of the modern business. In 2026, a professional presence is no longer defined by a long term lease or a massive corporate headquarters, but by flexibility, accessibility, and lean operations. Joining us today is Lucas Seyhun, the founder and CEO of the farm Soho. From his background in the US military to building a clothing brand from the ground up, Lucas understands the discipline and adaptability required to scale. Since 2014, he has grown the farm Soho from a creative co working space in New York into a comprehensive platform providing private offices, virtual mailboxes, and registered agent services for entrepreneurs worldwide. So, before further ado, let's welcome this very special guest. Lucas, welcome to the podcast. Such a pleasure to have you with us.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you for having me.
Now, Lucas, you started the farm Soho in 2014, right, to create a more human workspace. But the industry has shifted dramatically since those early days, right? So I'd love to understand from you, how has co-working evolved over time and what does office represent in 2026?
Um, it's actually more of an address. I would say
Mhm.
really what the business is. It's either for just receiving mail and you fully work on remote, or an address or a destination for a company to use the office temporarily for a day or a place to meet. It's just space and an address is what we really sell. The utilization of workspace have really evolved. I mean, you and I could be in a coffee shop right now and
Right.
call it a workspace. So we try to understand and break down each customer's use and expand in that. And that's where the virtual office, the virtual mailboxes came into play. And that's where the hybrid offices or our we also have a real estate company and real estate arm that actually
Mhm.
caters to long-term clients. So what has evolved is just like anything else, um, people understood that the work is a state of mind instead of a matter of place. And then we allow them to bring that state of mind into any shape or form possible. And if they live in Bali and they just need a place to receive mail because of tax purposes, or any other purposes, we'll be able to provide that to
Hmm.
a client.
Very interesting business model and business idea. And what you said, work is a state of mind. I think that is a golden line that, we'd repeat in this episode as well. Um, Shifting from a simple desk rental to, a community driven hub, it shows that founders are now looking for inspiration and connection over, just square footage. Uh, on that note, I think a lot has changed after COVID-19 as well, right? Specifically for the hybrid
Sure.
workplace. How do you think COVID-19 played a role, or how do you think the industry has shifted after the pandemic?
Well, I mean, everybody ended up moving to first people got relocated to more inexpensive cities and destinations nationally or internationally.
Yeah.
Then the companies realized after a year or two was like, but there's no structure, there's no discipline. Some companies like structure, but they
Hmm.
started creating this hybrid model that came into place in 1 or 2 days,
Yeah.
um, like part-time office. And I think that's what companies realized. Like 5 days a week in the office is just not effective. Kills creativity, especially for the creative team, especially for the developers team. Sales team is a little different, right? You have a sales team, you want them to kind of um, get motivated by each other's
Yeah.
actions.
Yeah.
But sales team is a very small, function or employment footprint of
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
startup world that we're talking
Right.
about, or the employment market.
Yeah.
So that is, I think, what COVID did is full from home with your pajamas is depression.
Right.
Every day at work is boredom and repetitiveness and kills creativity. So happy medium is the hybrid, and we cater those clients, and those clients are non-committal clients. They will
Yeah.
usually
Yeah.
come and rent one day a month, 2 days a month, but get people together, send them back home. That's the kind of the idea.
I think this is a genius thing because in a very timely conversation, specifically after COVID, as you mentioned, because adopting, a lean model, it allows founders to divert their capital growth as well. Because specifically, if we talk
Mm,
about small businesses, they are pretty, not so flexible about the money or the cash flow, and they are
mm,
counting every penny that's going out of their pocket. So from that perspective, I'd love for you to educate our audience about how can startups use flexible workspaces to scale without that overhead. So it's more than anything else, it's a mindset issue, right? So go ahead. What will be your pitch to startups?
It really depends on your company culture and
Mm-hmm.
your job description mix. If you're developer heavy, you're just gonna have to do conference room rentals here and there and have a place of address, more than likely.
Yeah.
And if you have the creatives, they like to get together. They like to do these creative retreats and brainstorming. Right, some things
Right.
can really be done um, remote. And so the best thing is, if you went to an office for 1 year, right, and now long term actually became 1 year, by the way. It used to be 10 years. In our world, we say long term, we talk about 6 months to a year. If you're renting an office and committing for a year, um, that's a lot of capital, right?
Mm.
The question is, how can I manage my employees by bringing them to office 1 or 2 days a week, renting conference room here and there, and
Yeah.
still have the same productivity? And you're looking at 20% of the cost at that point. You're not paying for coffee, tea, electric,
Yep.
um, community manager. I mean, your savings are vast, at least by 80%. And you get the same throughput. I mean, the bottom line is you're a founder. I'm a founder. I've served several other companies outside of the farm. I
Yeah.
take my employees to a retreat on a villa in a pool, lock them up in there for a week and do like a marathon. And then they
Wow.
go home and then I don't have to see them again for another 4 months on the development side, for instance.
Yeah. Yeah.
So but I guess, yeah, in New York, we don't have pools and villas, but we have offices. So the same, it's actually a retreat more than like, oh, these are my friends. I've been working with them for years. Let's get
Yeah.
together. Let's build something great. And that's how they save part time.
That's That's amazing. I loved how you articulated and explained this. And building on what you've said, here's a special message for all of our listeners right now, specifically to all the entrepreneurs watching. In 2026, your business address is your first impression. If you are a remote team or a solo founder, you don't need a midtown rent check to get a midtown reputation. Lucas and the team at the farm Soho have expanded their platform to include virtual offices, mail handling, and proof of address solutions specifically designed for the remote economy. They've built the technology so you can manage your entire business presence from your phone. Visit thefarmsoho.com to see how you can get the infrastructure of a Fortune 500 company on a startup budget. So stop paying for space you don't use and start investing in services that actually help you scale. Coming back to you, Lucas. Um, Now, firstly, I love the passion that which you talk about this thing. Also, how did you get into this? No child grows up thinking that I'd want to open up co-creating workspaces, right? So how is this something that you stumbled upon in your career, in your life, or is this
Yeah.
something that you were always very passionate about? Workspaces, go
And
ahead.
it's when Airbnb first started, I used to live in Miami. So I've had other businesses, like very simple stuff, car dealerships, and it's very common. When you live in Florida, you're very limited. And
Yeah.
when you're 20, back in my time, life
Right.
wasn't as uh, the prominent revenue.
Mm-hmm.
So then I moved to New York just to get a better life. In New York, Airbnb is super illegal.
Hmm.
So and then one day I met uh, a tech company founder. I think he founded one of the older co-working spaces. Not founded, but working at, kind of employee number one. I think it
Mm-hmm.
was called General Assembly back then. And now they became a fully school. And he told me, he's like, well, stop doing Airbnb for vacationists.
Yeah.
Do Airbnb for companies. That's what co-working is. So that
Hmm.
make a lot of sense. Little did I know, I thought I was gonna, put a nail through the wall, put a couple of
Yeah.
tables, and then try to market it over some website and have customers the next day. Whoop, that was not that easy. But apparently, that's how you really learn the business, how you work, how you market the business. But it happened totally by coincidence, meeting the right people and
Yes.
transitioning from one segment of real estate to
Yeah.
another segment of real estate, basically.
Wow, that's a very interesting story, and it's amazing how sometimes random ideas can just change your entire trajectory of life, right? What is
Yeah.
your favorite thing about entrepreneurship? What do you love most about it, apart from being flexible? Because that is the thing that I think you love
Mm.
as well, right?
Um, yeah, I mean, of course, I'm flexible. I'm a nomad. I travel.
Yeah.
We have employees all around the world. I visit them or just travel randomly. I
Yeah.
think that's my version, my cup of tea of entrepreneurship, right? And
Right.
not every entrepreneur is completely happy and satisfied, right? That's kind of
But you
uh,
are, is what you were saying, right? That is a good
yeah. I mean,
thing. Yeah.
it's me. It's like if you don't love it
There's
and
no point doing
you don't
it. Yeah.
understand your client, there's no point. You know, life is not forever, right? So if I could obsess over a business, which I do,
Hmm.
right, and if I love it with obsession and
Yeah.
with care, with attention to detail, and
Right.
surround myself with amazing people,
Hmm.
uh, the success is basically imminent. And just the seeing it work each time you create something new, that's just it's like your creation, right? You know,
Yeah.
it lives, it could live, it's going to outlive us. Everything that we create today as entrepreneurs,
Right.
it's going to outlive us, and it's basically almost like living forever.
Definitely. I love where this conversation is going. Um, Lucas, let's do a little time travel now. Imagine if I were to give you a time machine right now and we were to go
Okay,
5 or 10 years into the future.
get the load of numbers. Let's get the load of numbers. It's easier.
Yes, of
Yeah,
course. When
yeah,
you get
yeah.
out of the time machine, how exactly do you envision the office space, the co working space evolving over the next 10 years? Specifically, with now AI coming into the picture, a lot of
Mhm.
the skills that people needed to learn before, they have changed completely, right? So, when you enter that time capsule and when you get out of it, do you see a changed picture or changed scenery? What do you imagine? Just paint the picture for us.
Well, before we even go into the custom profile, I think the tech that goes into properties is going to be very different. You know,
Yes.
lockable secure doors, better Wi-Fi's, more employee access accountability. There's no more clock
Mm-hmm.
in, no more clock outs. Uh, that's definitely a we're gonna see, especially on certain buildings. We're seeing it today, and then
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna see a huge surge of amenities in residential buildings. They're creating offices. So it's gonna be another big destination for a lot of people. And then HQ is it's gonna be decentralized. Even now, we see in the small towns of we've been building micro centers around the country. So we see even smaller towns now gravitating towards this hybrid model, hybrid work.
Yeah.
So I don't think the cities, let's go to the city to work, is going to be something that's going to be less of a concept and more about let's meet somewhere else. Let's meet closer to home. Let's just kind of more natural the way people live.
Yeah.
Uh, and and the AI is going to be, it's going to change, right? We're going to have different type of clients now.
Yep.
Uh, a lot of solopreneurs.
Right.
Company size is going to probably shrink, especially with the newer ones. Like
Hmm.
I see this in my older startups. My older startups, uh, they require more individuals
Yes.
to operate because the code base is old. Sometimes we're
Right.
using WordPress. Anything
Right.
I create new with two people, you
Hmm.
know, by using Claude, we could automate everything. So we're going to see smaller size companies in offices. So the office size might shrink,
Hmm.
but brainstorming and utilization of marketing and coming together, that's still going to have to continue. We still need to put people into a space and
Hmm.
work together because the definition of work cannot be 100% done remotely.
Wow, that was a very interesting answer, and you've painted quite a picture there for sure. The future definitely looks very interesting, and we can't wait to see what it unveils. I'm loving this conversation, Lucas, and definitely I'd love for you to be back, hopefully, for an in person episode that we do the next.
Ooh,
Right? That just imagine the
yeah.
production and the conversation quality that we are going to have in person. So I can't wait for that to happen. So we'll be back with Lucas very soon to all the listeners. But for now, before we
Okay.
let you go, if there's one final piece of advice that you have for our founders today, something that you want them to leave them with, right? If you could whisper one thing into their ear, what would you say and why?
I mean, any stage of founder, right? But you
Yeah,
talk about pre-revenue, post-revenue. I guess pre-revenue.
pre revenue.
The marketing world is going to change so much. The way, like maybe before, we had to wait a year or two before the SEO to catch on,
Yeah.
right? Now because of the LLM model, the algorithms are changing, and change of algorithm really creates a unique opportunity to create any product into the market and to
Right.
be able to scale it much faster. So, because for me, in my perspective, marketing is always the biggest hurdle. You
Yeah.
get a great product, great idea, you don't market it, you're dead, right? So
Right.
that's always the second stage. So this is a unique opportunity, and we could do this with so much automation and so little costs and so much data uh, we never seen before. I mean, I put my older GA4 Google Analytics
Mm-hmm.
into through certain automations, and it was mind boggling. I mean, I could have a CMO that I pay $40 million a year. He couldn't pull this data out. So it's a unique time to grow, and
Definitely.
it's
And
it's
I
not going to
think,
be there forever.
yeah. So the sooner we are able to, pounce on this opportunity, the better. Indeed, a golden reminder again. And also, from the farm Soho perspective, I think this conversation was a beautiful reminder that the most successful companies are built on smart systems, not expensive desks, right? Lucas, it was such a
Right.
pleasure having you on the podcast. Thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome. Take care. Bye.
That was Lucas Seyhun from the Farm Soho, a masterclass in lean infrastructure, the power of virtual offices, and how to build a professional brand from anywhere in 2026. To all the listeners, thank you so much for tuning into the Canadian SME Small Business Podcast. Be sure to subscribe and visit CanadianSME.ca for more such resources. To learn more about how we are supporting the ecosystem, please visit the Canadian SME Small Business Foundation at smbfoundation.ca. And lastly, a very special thank you to our partners, UPS and ADP, our HR partner, for their ongoing commitment to empowering SMBs across Canada. I'll see you all in the next episode. Kripa Anand signing off.